Welcome to One More Hour, the podcast all about backyard ultras, timed races, and the ultra running mindset of going one more. If you're an ultra runner, a trail or ultra runner curious about the format, or just someone who loves to test your limits, you're in the right place. I'm Jackie Wilson, an ultra marathon and marathon run coach, trail runner, outdoor enthusiast, and backyard ultra expert. On this show, I'll bring you stories, strategies, and conversations with runners, race directors, experts, and more to help you go further, dig deeper, and keep going when everything in you says stop. Thank you so much for joining me for some yards. Let's get started with one more. Welcome back to the One More Hour podcast, your insider's guide to backyard ultras, last runner standing races, timed events, and the mindset of going one more. Summer training is here in full force in the US, and now is the time to start thinking about the mental training side of your backyard ultra. So I am running Voyager 50 mile with my husband. It will be his longest distance at the end of July, so I'm super excited for that and kind of just using this training block for my training for my backyard ultra in October. Possibly have one other backyard ultra at the end of August before I pace my husband for another race that I'll use for my training to kind of sort out any tweaks or problems that I need to adjust. I highly recommend, like we talked about in the long run episode 39, doing a backyard simulation before race day. Now, you don't have to sign up for a backyard ultra before your backyard ultra, but if you have the option, if you have the availability, it might be a great option for you just to kind of figure out what you actually need to do or change or adjust in a race environment. So today, because mental training is huge in backyard ultras, and it's not just something that you can do the week of race day or go into it thinking, oh, like my mindset is good, I feel good, I'm always positive about my training, I enjoy running. Everyone needs a mental strategy, and you have to practice it beforehand. So today we are talking about one of the biggest mental traps in backyard ultras and last runner standing events. It is very common, and it's a mistake that is very easy to make. So this is how it goes. You're standing in the corral waiting for yard 5 to begin, and you start thinking, people run these for 2 days. People run these for 3 days. This race hasn't even started yet. We're only 17 miles in. I have so far to go before I even hit my PR distance. I have to run all day before the race really starts. This is the mental cost of looking too far ahead. It's very common to do in ultras. It's very common to do in backyard ultras because distance slowly adds up with the format until you get further into the race. And then it kind of evens out with a fixed distance race, let's say a 100-mile race. There's no clear finish line. There's no predictable timeline of how long you're going to run. There's no guaranteed finish. There's no guaranteed mileage. There's no certainty. The race could end in 8 hours. It could end in 48 hours. It could go into the third sunrise. And your brain hates that. It doesn't like uncertainty. Our brains are constantly trying to calculate safety and predict outcomes. That's what it wants. We want to know how long something will hurt. We want to know how much energy we'll need. We want certainty. Backyard ultras give us none of that. So the brain starts doing math, right? Bad math. The brain does bad math. You're standing there at 17 miles and your brain immediately jumps to, well, if this goes for 200 miles, I'm only getting started. I have a long way to go. And then suddenly, instead of running the mile that you're in, you're emotionally trying to carry the weight of the entire future that does not exist yet. It's exhausting. It's exhausting to do the math on how far you have to go based on how far you think the race is going to go. And I think this is one of the reasons runners can feel overwhelmed ridiculously early in these races. Not because their body is failing, like you could feel great, but because mentally they're trying to survive tomorrow while standing in today, while standing in this moment. And that creates this crushing emotional weight. You start borrowing suffering from the future. You think about the second night before sunset on day one. Like, yes, you need to plan for these things and have some sort of, I don't want to say expectation, because that can also be debilitating and extremely hard when those expectations are not met. But you have to be able to plan for some sort of timeline. But you cannot put yourself in night 2 before you even got into night 1. You think about mile 150 at mile 20. You think about sleep deprivation before you're even tired. You think about pain before pain actually arrives. And the problem is your nervous system responds to imagined stress like it's real. Your body does not know that something is not reality. What you think, what you say, your body takes and your mind takes as this is happening. This is the present. Your body doesn't fully distinguish between this is happening now and this might happen eventually. So you start feeling defeated before there's even something concrete to defeat. I've seen runners completely spiral because they zoomed out too far, too early. They stop asking, what do I need to do right now? And instead start asking, how could I possibly survive all of this? How am I going to run that long? But here's the thing. You are not required to survive the entire race all at once. You only have to survive this yard, this loop. That's it. That's the whole job. Your job is to focus on one loop, 1 hour, one aid station stop, one sunrise, one low point. That's why the best backyard ultras are usually incredibly present. They're not positive all the time. They're not fearless. They're not always confident. They're present. They narrow their focus. They get tunnel vision. They stop mentally time traveling. The further ahead you look, the heavier the race becomes. So I want you to think about it this way. If I handed you a backpack or a hydration vest and told you eventually over the next 2 days it's going to weigh 100 pounds, you'd panic. But if I slowly added weight, 1 pound at a time, 1 kilogram at a time, while also giving you opportunity to adjust, eat, rest, adapt, rearrange the weight, your body and mind would tolerate far more than you originally thought possible. You're focused on 100 pounds right now, when you should only be focused on gaining 1 pound in your pack hour after hour after hour. That's backyard ultras. You adapt as you go. You do not need to be capable of mile 200 and mile 17. You become capable later. That's an important distinction. I think newer backyard runners especially struggle with this because they think, if I can't imagine running 36 hours right now, that must mean I'm not capable of it. It's kind of the same thought process of half marathoners when they can't imagine doing a marathon, or marathoners who cannot imagine running any further than a marathon. No, that's not how endurance works. Not many runners feel capable of running 36 hours at hour 5, especially when you're newer to the sport, especially when you haven't ran those distances or times before. The person who eventually runs 200 miles does not magically feel emotionally prepared for mile 200 during yard 5. They simply stay in the moment longer. They avoid carrying future pain before it arrives. Do not carry that weight. Do not carry that future pain. And honestly, this applies outside of racing, right? I think we do this constantly in training and life. We look too far ahead. We calculate the entire mountain. We look at, wow, I'm going to be peaking at 80 miles. How am I going to do that? We try to emotionally process every possible future challenge simultaneously. And then we wonder why we feel overwhelmed. Sometimes your brain is not overwhelmed by reality, but it's overwhelmed by projection, by anticipation, by trying to solve problems that don't exist yet. Do not project that. Do not anticipate that. There's a difference between being planning and preparing and that projection and that anticipation and solving problems that do not exist yet. Yes, I give all my athletes a strategy or an activity that has them list out everything that could go wrong, and they need to brainstorm all of the solutions for that. But that's being prepared for the race itself, right? This is a different situation. We're talking about trying to solve problems that don't exist yet within the race. Backyard ultras expose this tendency brutally because the format is basically infinite until it's not, right? It's easy until it's not. You cannot mentally hold the entire race. So you have to practice shrinking the world. And the good news about all of this is that it's a trainable skill. I don't want to just tell you like the mental cost of looking ahead is bad and that you shouldn't do it. Like, I want to give you trainable skills that you can practice. Most runners assume they'll magically become more present on race day. But presence is still a skill. And just like pacing, fueling, hiking efficiently, you practice it long before you step into a backyard ultra. Because although you can tell yourself, I just need to be present, I just need to stay present, I need to focus on this loop, I need to focus on eating, I need to focus on moving forward, it's a lot easier to tell yourself to do that when you're in a relaxed, safe state versus when you are stressed out, when you're sleep deprived, when you're low on calories, when you're dehydrated, when you're sore, when you're stiff, when something's bothering you, when you have GI problems, when you're sleep deprived. Did I mention that? When you're going into your second day, it's a lot harder to tell yourself to be present when you haven't practiced it in that situation, right? Our brains try to protect ourselves, so we have to train them to think positively, not negatively. Like, that's the default. The brain's default is negative thinking. It's protection. It's you're dying, I need to tell you to stop so you don't die, even though we're not. But in order to think that we're not, in order to think positive things, in order to encourage ourselves, in order to use our mindset tools, we have to practice them when we're in a safe spot, a safe place, when our brain feels safe. And our brain feels safe on our daily runs. Our brains feel safe when we're enjoying our runs. So just because you feel great and you're like, oh, my mind is good, I don't need mindset skills today, you do, because it's going to help you when you're not. It's going to help you on those bad days. It's just like you have to have the bad runs in order to appreciate the good runs, right? Because without the bad, the good would just be normal. It wouldn't be anything special. So just like pacing, fueling, hiking efficiently, you need to practice these things long before you step into your backyard ultra. So we're going to talk about 8 different skills that you can learn to practice in training so that you can get better at not thinking too far ahead during your backyard ultra or your last runner standing race. All right, so skill number 1 is to stop counting how many miles are left. Think about how often we do this in training, right? Like, you're 10 miles into a 20-mile long run and you're thinking, I still have 10 miles to go. Maybe it's not such a good day for you. Maybe it's really hot out. Your brain instantly makes that run heavier than it needs to be. So instead of thinking I have 10 miles to go, practice creating smaller finish lines. Run to the next aid station or to your next gel or the next time that you need to take a salt capsule. Run for the next 20 minutes. Backyard ultras are won by runners who learn to stay present within the segment that they're in instead of carrying the entire distance at once. So practice that in your training runs. Skill number 2 is to practice giving yourself one job. Not 10 jobs, one job. Maybe your job is to relax your shoulders, relax your hands. Maybe it's to hold an easy effort. Maybe it's to eat your next gel on time. When your brain starts projecting into the future, return to your one job. My one job is to fuel every 20 minutes. What's my job now? That's a much more useful question than how am I going to survive the next 10 miles or the next 30 hours. Skill number 3 is practice delaying decisions. This is one of the most valuable backyard ultra skills you will ever develop. Your brain will inevitably tell you, I'm tired, this isn't going well, I don't think I can do this, I think I can just slow down and time out, I don't need to go out for another one. Instead of making a decision immediately, practice saying, I'll decide in 15 minutes. I'll decide after the next hill. I'll decide after I eat. I'll decide after the next yard. I'll go out for the next yard and then think about it. Many runners make permanent decisions based on temporary discomfort. We've talked about this concept a lot in other episodes. The best backyard ultra runners learn how to wait. They learn how to delay the decision. They understand that not every thought deserves immediate action, and that not every thought should be based on a negative thought. Do not give all your thoughts weight. I had a runner kind of describe our thoughts that I've pictured ever since then. It's been probably 5 years now. So you have all these thoughts flying by past you. It's your decision which ones you actually grab and absorb. Let those thoughts pass. Keep going. Teach yourself to move forward and to continue on and to delay that decision. Just like in ultra running in general, you never make a decision without getting caffeine in your system, eating, hydrating, and taking a nap. After that, when you wake up from your nap, you can almost guarantee that your decision would be different than before doing those 4 things. You're cranky, you're sleep deprived, you're hungry, you're dehydrated, you're sore, you're in pain. Those 4 things can help tremendously and change your course of thinking. In the backyard, that's condensed more, right? Like you don't have a ton of time to do all these things, but you can still practice them all. You can still practice closing your eyes instead of taking a nap too, if you don't have that much time. But to delay the decision, do not make a decision based on your temporary feelings of discomfort. Skill number 4 is what I call beginning again. It's one of my favorite reasons why I love the backyard whistle system. It serves as a reset. So after during your train runs, after a water stop, after a bathroom break, after a turnaround point, or even every hour on your watch, mentally tell yourself, new run. Forget the previous miles, forget the previous loop, start over. You're starting fresh. You're starting at 0. And this mirrors exactly what happens in a backyard ultra. Every hour is a chance to begin again. You don't have to carry the entire race with you. You just have to start this loop. 4-mile runs on repeat, right? It teaches your brain that each loop is independent. This is also why I love a backyard simulation in training. This skill is extremely important in the backyard format. Every whistle and every yard are a reset. Each time you start another yard, you're starting at 0. Skill number 5. You can also practice recognizing when you're borrowing future suffering. I love that. Borrowing future suffering. Ask yourself, am I uncomfortable right now? Or am I imagining being uncomfortable later? These are 2 very different things. Maybe your legs actually feel fine. Maybe you're just thinking about how tired your legs might be 12 hours from now. That's not reality. That's projection. And that's when projection is often creating overwhelm. Again, remember, your brain cannot distinguish what is reality and what is projection. It thinks it's all reality. Related to this, I think a lot of runners hit a low in between the marathon mark and the 50-mile mark. Like this time period can be some of the hardest miles. And if you feel this way, do not use how you feel now to project and assume that you'll feel this way for the rest of the race, because it usually turns around. You usually don't feel that way for the entire race. It doesn't always get worse. Use some of the other skills to work through that current feeling. Skill number 6 is one of the best ways to get better at this, with occasionally running without distractions. No podcast, no music, no constant stimulation, just your thoughts. And it's not because silence is fun. Some people enjoy silence, some people cannot stand it. But you're going to start noticing how often your brain tries to leave the present moment. How often it's going to jump ahead. How often it starts solving problems that don't exist yet. And every time you bring yourself back to the current mile, back to the current moment, you're strengthening the exact skill that you're going to need during a backyard ultra. Remember that it has to be practiced in order to work on race day. And no, you are not doing it wrong when your brain jumps around. This is completely normal. It's just like meditation. A lot of people do not like meditation because they think that they're doing it wrong, because their minds leave the present moment and start thinking about what's going on in life, what needs to be done today, what am I going to make for supper, what am I doing for training, how am I going to fit in my run, and so forth, right? Like, they feel like they are doing it wrong because they aren't thinking about nothing. No. The entire point of meditation is to notice when your mind gets distracted and when you need to bring it back to the present moment. Awareness is valuable. Same goes with running. The same practice can be done in running. Come back to the present moment. No music, no podcasts, no audiobooks, no talking to someone else. Notice what your brain does. Notice how often it gets off track and starts thinking about things, projecting. Bring it back to the present moment. Practice that skill. Skill number 7 is practicing ending some runs, feeling like you could do more. We just had an episode on 10 different long runs to do, 10 plus, different long runs to do in your backyard ultra training. It's episode number 40. There are a lot of fun runs out there. However, a lot of runners think that every long run should leave them destroyed, especially in ultra running. It's not true. When you finish runs with something left in the tank, your brain is learning something. It's learning, I don't have to survive everything at once. I can trust myself to keep going when it matters. And this is a powerful lesson. You have to end some runs where it's like, okay, yeah, I could have kept running forever. I could have done 3 more yards in my simulation. Like I could have gone longer. You want that feeling. You don't want to be destroyed every long run. Teach your brain that you're not going to always destroy yourself. And number 8, after your long runs, ask yourself different types of questions. So many runners ask themselves, how many miles did I get in? How fast was I? What was my pace? What was my heart rate at? How many carbs did I take in? But for this skill specifically, I want you to ask, how many times did it bring my attention back to the present? How many times did I work through a low? What different mindset tools did I practice? How did the long run feel? Did I prove to myself that it doesn't just keep getting harder or more exhausting? Every time your brain jumped ahead and you returned to that current mile, you practice one of the most important skills in endurance sports. The runners who go furthest in backyard ultras aren't necessarily the ones who never look ahead. They're the ones who notice when they do and bring themselves back again and again and again. Again, mindset tools need to be practiced in training. The brain was designed to protect you. The brain needs to feel safe in order for it to change and to default to the skills on race day when it's stressed out. Practice these 8 tools in your training so your brain remembers them on race day. 1 loop, 1 task, 1 yard, 1 decision, drink water, eat something, change stocks, sit down, stand back up, walk to the corral, start again. Reset. New yard, new hour, new run. That's it. Your brain can survive almost anything for 1 hour, but it cannot survive carrying 40 future hours at once. It's debilitating. When people ask, how do people go so far in backyard ultras? A huge part of the answer is they stop emotionally attaching themselves to imaginary future suffering. They stop asking how much longer, and they start asking what matters right now. What do I need to focus on and do right now? I also think there's an ego component here sometimes, right? Like ego can come in a lot to ultra running, especially to the backyard ultra with the format. We think we need certainty before we continue. We want proof we can finish before we're willing to take another step. But backyard ultras do not work like that. It's one of the reasons why a lot of people are drawn to the backyard ultra is that they're trying to get away from those thoughts. The people who succeed are usually the people willing to continue without guarantees, without certainty, without knowing how far they'll go, without knowing how the story ends. And that's uncomfortable. But it's also freeing. Because if the goal is simply handle this hour, suddenly the race becomes manageable again. It's not easy. The backyard is easy until it's not, right? It's manageable. And that's often enough. I can run 4.167 miles right now. I can do 1 more hour. I can fuel right now in this yard. So if you find yourself overwhelmed early in a race, I want you to pay attention to where your brain is living. Is it here? Or is it 2 nights from now? Are you running this loop? Or are you mentally trying to carry the entire race at once? Because one of the most powerful skills in backyard ultras is learning how to return yourself to the present again and again and again. Not perfectly, not permanently, just repeatedly. Come back to now. Come back to this loop. Come back to what's real. The future version of you will handle the future miles when they arrive. Your job right now is to simply handle this one. 1 more hour. So thank you so much for listening to the 1 More Hour podcast. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with another runner who's training for a backyard ultra, who's looking to run further in a last runner standing race. And if you haven't already, please leave a comment, leave a review, leave a rating. It really helps other runners find the show. So until next time, stay present, stay steady, and keep going 1 more hour. Thanks for tuning in to 1 More Hour. If you enjoyed this episode, hit follow so you don't miss the next yard. And share it with a runner who loves pushing their limits. I'd love to hear your own stories of going 1 more. Connect with me on Instagram at the 1 More Hour podcast. And if you could leave a quick review, it'll help more runners find the show and keep going when they want to stop. Until next time, just go 1 more hour.